In other words, gratitude is the foundation of all manifestation. What's going on? You're listening to episode 53 of the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. This show is all about carving out time to build something for yourself, and I'm doing everything in my abilities to help you take your creative game to the next level. For all my United States listeners, we have Thanksgiving tomorrow. This is kind of a gratitude theme. I'm going to keep it quick and to the point as possible. You could read along with this one. I got a blog post for it. You can follow this as a blog post or in the show notes at perspective-collective.com/53. If you find any value in it or you feel it can make someone else's day, give it a share on social media, and you can connect with me over on Instagram at Perspective Podcast. Let's get into the show. I'm the kind of person who's going to tell you thank you twice for something, then proceed to tell you again an hour later. Not only that, is that I have zero issues whatsoever with dishing out a hug or two when someone makes my day. So you've been officially warned, and be prepared to get uncomfortable if we ever meet. While this may annoy people, I'd rather be the person who says thank you too much than the person who doesn't at all. With tomorrow being Thanksgiving, I not only want to show some public gratitude, but also want to challenge your way of thinking as we close off 2017. What I talk about, many people won't be open to nor agree with, and that's totes okay with me. This show is meant to challenge the lens of how you see the world, hence the name Perspective Podcast. I'm a very open-minded person, and if you know me face-to-face, you understand and you know this. However, what you might not know is that growing up, I was extremely narrow-minded, believing only what people closest to me influenced me to believe. I was closed off to anything that challenged my way of thinking, and honestly, I could get kind of rude and stubborn at times, so sorry to those people who were dealing with the old Scotty. Yet, I was always a thankful person. That was never a problem for me. While I never came from money, I realized that I had a lot of things going for me growing up, and there was always some type of support system of family and friends around me, so, it was easy to be grateful. Fast forward to today, while I may not accept everything, like how someone can support Trump, my goal is to at least understand and form my opinion from there. So today, I want you to be open-minded friends of mine about a concept of gratitude, as well as the law of attraction. You don't have to accept it, but seek first to understand, then to be understood, as Stephen Covey states. Until I hit my early to mid-20s, I spent the majority of my life playing a victim. I've told you this before on the podcast. My mind was wired to expect nothing significant to come my way, and that's exactly what manifested. Absolutely nothing. It seemed I could never catch a break, as I was lost drifting day to day with no purpose. I needed to change. But in order for me to change, I had to change the way of my thinking. I was introduced to the law of attraction from my wonderful Aunt Margie out in San Francisco when she gifted me the book The Secret when she was back home visiting us in Iowa. The concept seemed a bit crazy, a little bit cuckoo, but with where I was at in this mentality of life, like, what did I have to lose? I really only had everything to gain. Being a skeptic, I dug a little deeper, and I ended up finding a ton of scientific evidence tied to this theory of the law of attraction. What really sold me was some of the biggest celebrities I respect, such as Will Smith, Jim Carrey, Oprah Winfrey, and Denzel Washington. They all swear about how they've applied this to their lives and the benefit that it's brought them. And I totally see that there's flaws in the book and the movie The Secret of how it presents these theories and concepts. I get it. I get why it would understandably create these skeptics. Yet this book opened me to a new way of thinking that, has since benefited me throughout the years. And that's why I feel it's important to share it to you. Because your thoughts create your reality, and what you focus on expands. Over a year ago, my good friend Scott Biersack, aka You Bring Fire on Instagram, an insanely talented designer, type designer, illustrator, lettering artist. However, Scott recommended 2 books from the author named Pam Grout. And the first book was E Squared, 9 do-it-yourself energy experiments that prove your thoughts create your reality. And the second book was Think and Grow Rich, a 30-day experiment in shameless gratitude and unabashed joy. And this is a play off Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which is also based on the law of attraction. Extremely popular book. I have all of these linked up in the show notes again at perspective-collective.com/53. The principles I learned from The Secret were amplified upon reading New York Times bestselling E Squared. Pam, in that book, gave you practical steps and tests for changing how you think in order to attract positive change in your life. It wasn't just a bunch of successful people telling how they applied these principles and how it changed their life like it is in The Secret. So this is really hands-on and gives you practical steps so you can perform your own experiments. After that, I ended up reading her Think and Grow Rich book, which specifically relates to attracting things in your life through gratitude. Hence this Thanksgiving episode. And I'm going on record right here that I believe 100% that this works after the insanely abundant amount of opportunities that have come my way the last 3 years. And then when my mindset is in a negative dip, how many lack of opportunities come my way, especially when I'm wishing on things that, I wish I had instead of appreciate the things that I currently have in my possessions. Moving forward, I want to give you 2 steps for using gratitude effectively. And I got this from a brief excerpt from one of Pam Grout's blog posts relating to her theory of gratitude. And Pam states, ferocious gratitude, as I wrote about in my last book, is causative energy. It literally brings things to life. Knowing and acknowledging that you live a blessed life makes things happen. It draws in even more blessings. In other words, gratitude is the foundation of all manifestation. There are 2 steps for using it most effectively. First, give thanks that whatever reality appears to be true right now is one of a gazillion possibilities. Struggling to pay your bills or flying solo may seem rock solid and an absolute fact, but it's not. Not even close. It's literally one tiny superposition in the quantum field. And we must start by celebrating the infinite number of other potentialities that exist. When we get really jazzed that whatever we have now is far from the final answer, the new can come quicker. Many people forget this step. They build an altar to the reality they have now. They actually forget that it's no more true than any other option. I say throw a party for the countless options available to you, get out of the problem state, dive into the possibility state. The last step you already know, say thanks for whatever new cool things you plan to draw in your life. Say yes, that it's barreling your way. Jump for joy, throw streamers. I don't know if you could relate to that, but it definitely parallels a lot of the things that have been happening in my life. And another person that I really, really look up to is Steve Harvey and just how he carries himself in his professional career, yet still, being his true, genuine, funny self. He goes on record in multiple instances in YouTube videos. And for example, here's an excerpt from his blog. And it states, "You cannot run out of things to be grateful for. When you start fine-tuning your gratitude, it's amazing. It changes your focus because now your focus is not on what you don't have. Your focus is on what you do have. When you change that focus through gratitude, you then open up a pathway for more stuff to come to you. A lot of us are blocking our blessings today because we aren't grateful for the ones we have. We're so busy telling God and putting out in the universe what we don't have that we're no longer receptive to things that we could have. You have now blocked all of your blessings from coming because your focus is not on the coming, it's on what you don't have." That's so true. The moments where I feel like shitty thing after shitty thing keep coming in my life are generally the moments where I find myself wanting that new job or wanting that feature on Instagram or wanting my podcast episode to be listened by over 1,000 people. It's sad because I am a blessed human being with a lot of shit going for me in my life, and sometimes I'm so blinded by the future version of myself that I want to be so badly, or comparing myself to other people who have what I want. But those times where I constantly reaffirm myself with how grateful I am, it's like, holy shit, I look at my phone and I might get an email or direct message with another opportunity or a random phone call out of the blue. So the stuff that Steve Harvey and Pam say are so incredibly true. You just have to be open and receptive towards this new way of thinking. Before you do dismiss all of this, all I ask is that you're open to understanding. And if you are open to all of this, I want to challenge you here. How can you be more intentional and genuine in showing more gratitude in your life? It's a challenge not only to you, but to myself as well. While I believe our thoughts create our reality, I think there are a few more ingredients in the mix, as the dough alone can't make the pizza. You need the cheese, you need the sauce, you need the pepperoni. In my world, that's all you need for a damn pizza. And I strongly feel things like grit, work ethic, tenacity, and being a good person increase those chances of manifesting these opportunities. Thinking alone, I don't feel would be enough. There needs to be some action, and that's where a lot of people are skeptic of the law of attraction. But I think it's multiple ingredients that create those opportunities. And this leads me to giving some open public thank yous. And this is something I would have done even in my narrow-minded days, because I believe in saying thank you to people. People appreciate being appreciated. I know I do. It's one of my love languages is affirmation, appreciation. So it makes me feel good. So I need to put out into the world what makes me feel good, because it's going to make other people feel good. So first off, I need to thank you, the listener. It took me 4 months or more to just nut up and start this podcast, as I was so terrified of failure and being scrutinized. And I fail all the time with this podcast, and I've been scrutinized before, and as many nice comments come my way, one negative comment can really get in my mind. You have no idea what it means to me that you spend even a fraction of your limited time in your life to hang with me. I don't take it for granted, and I cherish every little single share, comment, direct message, email, your reviews that you've ever sent my way. This show would not exist without your support. And along with the listeners, I need to give a huge thank you to those who back the show over on patreon.com/perspective podcast. Your investment in the show is never lost on me, and I'm also forever grateful. It allows me to keep doing what I do and giving back to people like you. Next, I want to thank everyone who's been on the podcast this last year, or has hired me for a project in 2017, or invited me to any type of event to speak or teach a workshop. Holy shit, it's been a wild year. And it's people like you who allow me to continue to find my voice and in turn share something I feel is valuable to the world. And as of late, there are some people that have massively helped me excel with some pretty large projects. I would be lost without advice from people specifically like Colin Tierney, Ray Most, Roxy and Phoebe, those crazy cats from Drunk on Lettering, my best friend, my local homie in Waterloo, Iowa, Joey Bearbauer, and my mastermind group. The advice you've given me has helped me find my stride going into the new year, and I don't think I've ever had this momentum going into, the next year. I especially need to thank my family and friends for, wow, this is starting to really get drawn out. I'm sorry, but fuck it. I'm going to keep going because it's important to me. Skip ahead. I don't care. But I need to thank my family and friends for believing in me, especially when I don't believe in myself at times, and for sticking around even though I feel like I disappear from the planet at times too. Thank you so much for being there. And finally, my biggest thank you goes to my wife, Emily. This woman is so supportive, patient, and understanding. If anyone wants me to achieve my dream as much as me, it's her. Thank you for being the most important person in my life. I love you, babe. Check. My final thank you goes to Nick Jenkins of Blookah for all the dope theme music you hear on this show. You can find more of his work at soundcloud.com/Blookah. That's BLOOKAH, or hit him up on Instagram. And you guys, I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving, or if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, amazing rest of your week. Finish out this week strong. Keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep creating. You got this.